Buenos dias, Mauro, and thank you for joining us today at Business Spotlight Series. Today, I am excited to introduce Mauro Serra, owner of Kenji Productions. Welcome, Mauro.
Thank you, Javier. Much
So,
appreciated for having me.
Mauro, I'm very excited to find out more about what you do, and tell us a little bit, how do you end up doing what you are doing?
It starts when I was young, when I was a kid, pretty much. It started as a hobby, then it developed into like a major passion, which was like music production. That introduced me to all the tools that are around media production, media creation. So from audio to music to video to graphics. And the years passed, and after high school, I really felt that I had a strong connection to this not anymore a game, but like it was an activity that it became slightly more serious. And so like deciding to go off from the standard route, at least where I'm coming from in south of Italy, it was like, oh, if you want a job, you have to go to university and study the classic um, subjects and fields. And I felt that that wasn't my route. My route was like continuing on expanding my knowledge on audio production. So like I started to approach the first marketplace platforms online where I figured that I could actually help people to solve their needs and their problems, whether it was audio fixing or audio editing or video production. It suddenly started to grow, and people started to give me opportunities. So like review after review on projects after projects, not only I started to gain a network of contacts and clients, but also like to increase my skills until it become like so let's say productive and long term that I could make a full-time job out of it. So like the problem of, oh, I have to find a job disappeared because I was actually already doing it.
You told me it started a bit as you discovered the talent. You had this talent, and then it was like a bit of a hobby.
Yeah,
People wouldn't take it seriously. Okay, what's your real job? And then you ask your parents, look, I'm doing, was it geology? You tried
I was studying geology. Yeah,
at university in Italy, and you didn't like it, and then you dropped out, which is great. This is a great message for young entrepreneurs who go to university and they do something. Why am I doing this?
yeah,
And then you went to your parents and said, Mom, Dad, trust me.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me to do what I love doing.
The, you
Then
know,
yes,
I always had my parents back on like trying to find out, like they always helped me to go forward.
yes,
So I want them to be happy and to recognize that I was going towards a correct way for my path, because I was not happy studying geology. It was not my thing. It was like, again, like if you want a job, just go study. And I
yes,
start and I chose like the least repellent.
yes,
So I said, no, this is not what I want to do.
yes,
And at this point I was almost 10 years making my own projects, which like developed into like more and more responsibilities, was creating
yes,
albums and recordings with artists in my
yes,
areas. And so like I recognized that I had some skills because I was every day at it. Like I came back to school, bam, I used to study a little bit and then making music every day, every single day. So after a little bit, like I recognized that I knew how to deal with these dynamics of audio production and multimedia production. And online I actually found people that required assistance, because not everyone has the time, has the passion, or the interest to dive into like how to solve an audio problem. And so like I figured, oh, they are looking exactly for a person like me. Maybe this could be turning into something. And it was like at the start of like the freelancing
yes,
gigs and the freelancing environment, in which people like wanted to deal with a direct person instead of an agency, instead of a big
yes.
company.
Yeah. So you've basically turned your hobby, your passion, into a business.
Yeah,
And so the three things for success is to have a passion for something,
yeah,
to have a skill to do it, and then commitment. And you were saying after school, I came here and I started working on the business, which is brilliant. Then you told me you came over to Scotland. You fell in
Yeah,
love with Scotland when you visited Edinburgh and Glasgow, and you can see Scotland is a country with character,
definitely.
and you fell in love with it, and you've now been here for 6 years, right?
Yes, yes. You know, I feel that Scotland sort of had some values or some energy that was in common with Sardinia, with character, with like you know, it was like a type of energy that I found like
Yes, I feel the
reflecting.
same.
So I found myself pretty comfortable immediately here.
Yes,
And I came here exactly because I could find a way for my business ideas and for my creativity, slash also like love and also interest of
yes,
creative media.
yes,
Because like I found that here in Scotland it was strongly considered. Like
yes,
as I was mentioning to you before the recording, when I used to talk with people in Sardinia about what I did, it was like always like, oh, but what do you do for a real job? Or what is the
yes,
real thing that you want to do?
yes,
Whilst here, I found an infrastructure, a society, a university set of programs that actually gave value to creative
yes. It's
arts and
giving you
creative.
wings to fly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So
That's
like,
brilliant. So then you say, well, I want to boost up my CV, and then you did a course.
yeah,
You didn't want to spend 4 years, so you found a 2-year course. It equipped yourself with a skill set, and it taught you about business development. It taught you about relationships. You mentioned,
yeah.
and then you say, well, COVID ruined my plan. How do you react? How do you respond to COVID?
Well, the intention was like after university and since like my business is going well, I would like to travel more. I would like to experience a bit of the world. I mean, my travel here in Scotland, I found like a place where to have a base, but I wanted to like also see a little bit more. Nonetheless, COVID hit and I found myself I was already working from home, so like things didn't change too much business wise. But although it ruined those plans of traveling, at the same time, from the business perspective, it gave a massive opportunity because people started to stay more at home to create more content, whether podcast, videos, social media was like more and more growing more music, any kind of like multimedia content that in the everyday life as in the personal sphere but also in the professional sphere we consume, whether it is movies,
Yes,
music, podcasts and stuff like that. And so like I found more like the demand was growing more and more and more, and it was like those 2 or 3 years I found myself, oh, okay, I am surrounded by a world that is shutting down, and business-wise, many people have been impacted. I was benefiting in a way from it, but at the same time, I had to face the reality of human limits, being like self-employed and working from home. I had to create a better structure, a better boundary between like life and work and life, because not always like working at home, and especially when you do your passion and your hobby, it's easy to find like
yes,
more times than others. Like I found myself overworking without even like realizing it. Oh, it's 3 a.m. Oh, okay, well,
yes.
I was having fun, but surely on the long time, on the long run, it was becoming a problem. So like this put me in a wave of how can I implement my business, how can I grow, but at the same time preserve like sanity and health, because like self-care, especially in this business of creative media and like
Yeah.
working with clients among the world, it can like it can be neglected very easily. So I had to understand, what do I do here? Do I want to grow? Do I want to expand? How do I do it? And because like, to be fair, like I started my business when I was a teenager in the end, so I always proved myself that I could do everything by myself because it was always working. But if I want to do way more, I feel like I need to expand. How do I expand? And therefore it starts my research on business development.
Brilliant. That's excellent. Tell us a little bit, who is your ideal client and what will you provide? So what is the end product? So what do they walk away from you? Give us an example.
So I started like being very vast on the services that I could offer. That ranges from music production to music composition to video editing to podcast production to audio restoration to video courses to social media presence, marketing tools and stuff like this. So and growing up, like I felt like I love all these things and I'm doing them because I have a passion for them. But I have to I want to master a specific sort of field and create a niche in which like I can develop a business offer. So like right now I'm pushing more and more towards podcast production and also support to multimedia, which can be in the post-production aspect, which means audio implementation and audio sound design for either films or video games and media of this kind. The end product, well, my ideal client for really defines the end product because like not every client has the same needs, and I am pretty versatile to understand what they need and how can I provide the best solution to them. So like I range from like the independent creator to a major business. Would you like me to provide some examples, or like should I keep it more generalistic in a way?
So, for instance, why didn't you tell us something you've delivered that you felt really good about it? That is the core of what you do. You know, you came out of it. Yeah.
So one project that I really loved and that I am proud of and that reflected my both my skills, my experience, and my will to go further in the field is I collaborated with Meta, Facebook, for the virtual reality Meta Quest. In which like I collaborated with a business in Australia that shot a documentary underwater documenting the sea life from New Zealand to Oceania to the Fiji Islands to Australia. And my goal was to create an immersive experience sonic wise that could reflect the immersiveness of the video, because the video was the 180 degree. So like you put the VR headset and you can look around and you're under the ocean. And my goal was to create all the sound effects. So like giving you the pressure feeling of when you're underwater mixed with the spatialization of it. So like when you look into a certain place, it had to reflect what you were perceiving body-wise and acoustically wise. So like if a shark comes from your left and goes to your right, I had to emulate that experience so that the end user would feel, wow, this is almost real. So this is a project that got me into a place where I was collaborating with a major brand that I had the goals to work with, and I was applying what I studied for the 5 years prior, which was like audio implementation for 3D experiences. So this was like
That's brilliant. Yeah.
challenging, but also like
Yes.
it was a melting pot of all my skills because I also
Yeah.
produced some original music for it other than the sound effects, and it allowed me also to study all the video formats and how those technology work.
Yes. So, Mauro, that's very, very exciting, actually. And that brings me to the next question, which is you, like many other business owners, well, everybody started, well, many businesses started like you know, as a freelance. And then they are very successful. It's what you told me earlier on.
Yeah,
You're growing the business beyond you. And we talked about leveraging with other people,
yeah,
delegating. And then you say, well, but the business is Mauro, really. I've got my signature stamp on everything, and people want to deal with me because, and that's very, very interesting. So how do you grow without losing the Mauro effect? Okay, so that's one aspect of it. And by the way, this is what we specialize in, growing
yeah.
businesses. But I would like to see, your view for people watching this recording who are in your shoes, who want to grow. What are your thoughts going forward, next 5 years?
So I suppose I had to go through, and I'm still going through a rewiring of my business brain in a way, because if I put myself that I could do everything by myself up until now I face a reality in which I want to grow as a business, but I recognize that by myself I cannot go over a certain beyond a certain result. So what do I do? I started researching and studying and learning more and reflecting actually on the psychology also of like why I arrived here at this point, but what I need to go forward. So started reading books. One book in particular is this one, 10x is easier than 2x, which really put me in the perspective of, okay, I have to redefine myself not as the hands-on person only, but also as a business owner. What
Yes,
does a business owner do to expand? Help using the help of others. That's something that I've been reflecting on for a long time, and it is not easier to bring in up exactly because what you were saying before, business always work with me and they know that they are working with Mauro. How can I guarantee that they will receive the same attention, the same
yes,
results, the same outcome if someone else worked? So mm, I suppose like that answer goes into I have to understand or I have to prepare myself how to be a better leader,
yes,
into trusting others, into
correct.
creating the space and the
Yes,
resources for others to understand how I work.
yes,
And so it
yes,
goes from a journey of like being a better coach, if I will, or learning how to be a better internally a better coach, so that others can
yes.
understand my vision and my approach to work.
I think a
Uh,
great analogy is with, Gordon Ramsay,
yeah,
yeah, he's, how does he scale? Because it's a very good analogy, okay? So in a way, you're the chef, you don't need to do it, but you need to supervise it type of thing, right?
right,
And there is a great book, actually. You were, the book you wanted to share was 10X, right?
right.
Um, and the one I want to share is this one. Have you read the E-Myth?
This one, no, not yet.
The E stands for entrepreneur, the
Okay,
entrepreneur myth. And it's a great read. I'm not going to go into it now, but everybody that has a business is like a bit of a technician. You're very good at what you do, but growing the business is transversal.
yeah.
So it's a great read. So that's very, very exciting, Mauro. Just to wrap up a little bit, what what are some of the what would you suggest? What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
That doing everything by yourself is not always the best approach. If I could go back, I could, because like from every aspect of my business and my activity has always been like, oh, I will figure it out. Accountancy, uh, understanding the business reality here in the UK, which was different from Italy,
Yes,
where I'm from. But at the same time, like having help on other aspects of maybe like the more hands-on thing. Yeah, surely. Because like I love learning, I love studying, I'm passionate. Like it's easy to fall in the trap. Oh, I want to learn how it works, and I want to do it
yes,
by myself. But if I could go back 12 years from now, I would definitely surround myself earlier um, with people that could suggest me, with a coach, with assistants, with an accountant, with a financial advisor, so that
yes,
I could focus on my craft, and
yes.
everything around my business could start to grow and scale up, maybe like at 25 instead of 30, as is happening now. Nonetheless, if I am here now, it's I mean I don't regret. Surely though, we can always learn
Correct.
from the previous steps.
Well, that's great advice for people, young people like you who have a passion and they are, growing a business and they want to grow beyond themselves so that they
Yeah.
can serve many more customers out there waiting for your services. That's brilliant. Well, Mauro, by the way, one last thing. Is there any news or things coming up that you want to share with us watching this recording?
Well, yeah, I'm continuing working on this meta production documentary, and also I'm starting to work with Warner Brothers Discovery on mentorship programs. I'm working with leadership consultancy in Australia that are bringing me to a major type of business that is like video courses, working with diversity and inclusion. So like making sure that the content arrives and is translated to like languages that are maybe like less mainstream. So like I'm growing towards like a more inclusivity and diversity sort of topic related content, which like is quite exciting because in the first place, I am the first one that arrived in a new culture, in a new place, and I felt very welcome. So
Yeah.
I know how it feels like to be nicely received, and I
Yeah.
want to
Yes.
sort of surround myself with businesses that are pushing
Yes.
for those values and course.
That's brilliant. Well, Mauro, it's been a real pleasure having you
Likewise.
with us at Business Spotlight, and thank you for sharing your experience and wisdom with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Iver.